Is there any shot you think whatsoever? And I've kind of maintained this idea that if it comes down to it, let's say Watson gets suspended for the totality of 2022. Yeah. I personally believe the best scenario for Baker is to stay in Cleveland, know your starter. It's got a good team around him, ball out, and basically just throw up the deuces, double birds to Andrew Berry at the end of the season and go thanks and go and, go on the Kirk Cousins tour. Because here's the thing. I think if he goes to Carolina, there's like no consensus about almost anything in Carolina between David Tepper, Scott Fitterer, and Matt Rule. Like, it's insane the way that things kind of get decided there and the different, thought processes in the building. So who knows what you're walking into there, right? Seattle, every time I talk to Seattle, they're like, well, hey, Drew Lock's pretty good. Like, Drew Lock's got some tools. We like Drew Lock. Like, I still don't think there's a guarantee he walks into Seattle and there's someone sitting there going, well, we know who's got the better arm. So you don't know if he kind of gets into a quagmire there either. Plus, he has to learn the offense, the best offensive line, the best running backs. He's got a pretty damn good wide receiving core and tight end. If everybody's healthy in Cleveland, I think Baker would have an opportunity to actually have a good season, take it back to 2020. And then there's going to be a team out there that's going to go, yeah, you know what? We're willing to pay this guy now.
Yeah. See, that's a total logical scenario, right? But then we talked about this on a show a couple weeks ago, and I had to literally write down on a pad like all the issues between Mayfield and the Browns,
right?
Just to kind of convince myself that this is just not feasible at all for him to come back there. It was really long. I don't have it in front of me.
You need a new pad.
Yeah, seriously. Like, just all the things that he said, right? All the slights. Yeah, they clearly don't want him there. Like, I just think all that festers and stuff. Like, the buzzword in the NFL's culture.
Right.
Everybody overuses that. But I think it's for this very reason, right? Like, I just don't see a scenario where you could bring him back there and he would like fuse seamlessly with the team in the locker room at this point. I don't know. But on paper, strategically, and as far as the offense, yes. Because you mentioned like acclimating to a new offense. That is a massive discussion point in all this. Because if you don't get traded till August or late July, you're coming in cold. Carolina and Seattle are not like winning products of offense right now, right? If you're looking on paper, they got some weapons, but like, you don't know what you're getting into. In Seattle, Geno Smith knows the offense really well there. Like, he would be, well ahead of Mayfield as far as that stuff. So it's difficult. He's got to think about, where do I go where I can be, I can showcase myself. And you're right. Cleveland probably is the best case for that. I don't think there's any chance in hell the Browns want him on the field next year. I just don't.
You haven't had OTAs. You haven't had the passing program. You haven't been studying the offense. Like you said, I mean, there's like a multitude of issues. Yeah. You don't know what the chemistry is going to be like. God forbid you get hurt, and that slows your progress. I mean, all these different things could possibly happen. But you're right. I mean, with the Browns, he's had issues with Stefanski. He does not trust Andrew Berry or the front office. He thinks they're absolute liars. Yeah. He knows that there's a contingent in that locker room that does not like him. That he feels like has stabbed him in the back, particularly over the Odell Beckham Jr. stuff. It's wild to see, ultimately how this thing's going to play out, particularly with the backdrop, obviously, of what's going on now with Deshaun Watson.